higher, smoking dope. Probably jipping in his fitting, new Valencia on my toes. Bitch, I wake up, get a bag, then I split it with my bros. Keep it eating ramen noodles, bitch, I feel like Naruto. You don't do it like I do it, guess that shit ain't getting through to ya. Fucking order he made and I'm fucking on a Rukia. SI stones all in your chain, who you fooling, bro? Bust it with that Bronco, I ain't gotta shoot at ya. Call hard flannel, I miss it with a bait sugar hat. Out here getting money, bitch, I'm ballin' like a running back. Maserati black, call it that the kid. You ain't ballin' like I'm ballin', you ain't fresh as I'm in. You ain't big whip, whipping, you ain't Sean Don sipping. While you and your boys kicking with some K-pop bitches. And everybody pissing, bitches about to owe me. I say it once, listen up, bitch, blow me. I'm rocking Cartier frames, diamond tennis bracelets. I'm rolling over Zorro with the blaze, bitch. Came for the bounty, now tell me where that cash at. Quarter ounce of kush up in my Louis Vuitton backpack. Your girl hit me up, so I hit it. I'm so sorry, bro. I hit the gym, but we still got some cardio. Smoking Waluigi, bitch, I feel like Metal Mario. You ain't getting money, boy, you broke. What you lying for? Hit the jeweler in my stone VVS. Flooded out the Nintendo 3DS. Ali F, baby, got these little rappers shook. I been stacking of these bells, you can call me Tom Nook. She tryna smash, so I'm grabbing my Nintendo Switch. I just want the top, not a pussy, baby, suck a dick. These rappers' lyrics lazy, that shit is unimpressive. I'm some motherfucking wavy, gave your girl the swimming lessons. How do you wanna kick it with a young boy? I've been rolling around the city in a Rolls Royce. Do the weed like I'm Simmons when I roll up. Probably chillin', sippin' ramen when they soda. Oh yeah, I've been getting money, yeah, this all day. You don't want way that you do it like I'm Sasuke. Yeah, shawty tryna fuck me cause I glowed up. Probably chillin', sippin' ramen when they soda. Oh yeah, Sheenie got me in a Gucci crossbody. At the telly, smoking dope up in the lobby. Now I'm touring around the world, plenty bitches like it's Daft Punk. Hit you with that special bean, can't leave your ass lump. 16,000 just for the chain, that's what we be on. Riding around my city, bitch, I'm smoking on some leafy on. Catch 'em all, bitch, I ball so like Pokemon. Call me Ash, catch 'em, bitch, I wreck 'em when the beat come on. Do it like it's nothing, I've been marijuana puffin' in Meridian City. Fuck a bitty like Nurse Joy. Bitch, I'm going dummy, I've been counting up my money. Probably see me sliding in the 2020 Rolls Royce. On that motherfucker, baby, I'ma be that to the death. Smoking out the zip and tell it wasn't nothing left. Yeah, I'm the best, that ain't no contest. I keep that PK thunder around my neck, call me Ness, I'ma go. 6 gear, pedal to the flow. Now that I got me some ice, I look like Article No. It's Ali F, baby, it's a 2010, young money shit. Freddie Flintstone did, make your bed rock, bitch. Cushion my cologne when I walk up in the bank. Getting money with my gang like I'm Red Hair Shanks. Keep a Hillary Duff and I keep a Hillary Swank. If it's Ali on the beat, you know that shit finna crank, bitch. No silk scarf, yes, Prada. Also smoking poet marijuana. I head to toe in designer. 5-ball juice, I don't need a lighter, nah. I don't wanna cut, I want the whole thing. Feel like Hank Hill smoking propane. Begging for a feature, told him no thanks. Diamonds on me do the fusion dance, call it Go Tank. Shawty wanna kick it with a young boy. I've been rolling around the city in a Rolls Royce. Do the weed like I'm Simmons when I roll up. Probably chillin', sippin' ramen when they soda. Oh yeah, I've been getting money, yeah, this all day. He don't want way that you do it like I'm Sasuke. Yeah, shawty tryna fuck me cause I glowed up. Probably chillin', sippin' ramen when they soda. Oh yeah, shawty wanna kick it with a young boy. I've been rolling around the city in a Rolls Royce. Do the weed like I'm Simmons when I roll up. Probably chillin', sippin' ramen when they soda. Oh yeah, I've been getting money, yeah, this all day. He don't want way that you do it like I'm Sasuke. Yeah, shawty tryna fuck me cause I glowed up. Probably chillin', sippin' ramen when they soda. Oh yeah.
Hello. Hello, hello. Okay. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I hope there's not many videos. So, yes, I'm gonna try to educate myself on the SaberSpark drama. Because apparently he's in drama. Didn't know about it till a day or so ago when I saw Give an Ant post something about he was gonna be streaming about it on Twitter. And I've watched SaberSpark for years. I've loved his videos. I love because it's that kind of like JonTron stuff. So I was like, you know what? I want to look into this. So it's not like I'm stealing anything from him, because I mean I'm just going on YouTube and seeing whatever videos, whatever I could find. There's only like a handful of fucking videos that are already out. So, I swear Ant posted about he was gonna be streaming or something about the SaberSpark shit. Or was it the other night he did that? Am I ass backwards on that? Did he already stream about it, or was he going to and maybe he changed his mind? Dude, I feel like an idiot. I have no idea. Either way. Either way. And I haven't streamed in a bit, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just stream it, look it up, checking it out, looking into it all, see what's going on. I'm also live on Twitch, because I am going to be playing Borderlands 3, which does have Twitch integration stuff. So, if I don't know if anybody is interested in interacting with any of that, then I am also live on Twitch with all of that stuff turned on. I think. Unless it's not turned on. Settings, maybe? Div sale. Why is everything... What? Other connections. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's all good. So we're good on that front. So we're good on that. We're good on that front. We're good on that front. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and try to just go ahead and get this going. See. And then after that, we might also watch the new Mama Max video from an hour ago that's 3 hours long. Which is crazy. Yeah. Okay. Cause like I see like a couple different videos. You got like one from 4 days ago that's got 14K views, but it's like it's like 4 minutes long. One that's 10, one that's 12. Like there's nothing, and then so I have, and then the one from 6 days ago, 7 days ago, 8 days ago, the one from 6, and the one from, and the, I don't know. The name Gamma is familiar, but it's not the one that has the most views. Because like this one, the one that has the most views, it says how not to expose SaberSpark in DA games. So I don't know if that's something else. So we'll probably just watch both. So.
All right. So today we have a story.
We're gonna hold up. Picture in picture. Then we're gonna bring. We're gonna open OBS because since we are playing games while we do this. Not sure why that was slightly bigger, but whatever. I don't remember. I think because I gotta bring that above it. Okay. Or do we want this full screen and the other stuff in the game small? Is that what I should? Is that how I should do it? I don't know how important the. I don't know how important the actual video is gonna be. Yeah, okay. We'll do this person's video full screen, and then put the game over it in the corner. I'll make myself a little smaller. There we go. I think that looks all right. Welcome everybody tuning in. And if you're there, I don't know. I couldn't see if you. I remember you posting on Twitter about streaming or something about this, and I don't know if you already did or didn't. Sorry if I'm stealing this from you. I just was curious about the SaberSpark stuff because I have watched SaberSpark for like years, so I was interested in it. What the fuck did I just? What? Oh my god, this shit is so annoying sometimes. Well, because you can't capture a specific window and then have that window minimized, or else it just doesn't fucking work. That just doesn't work. Hello, everyone. Properties. Fuck it, let's get straight into it.
All right, so today we have a story fresh off the presses, which means that I immediately need to preface this video by saying that what you are about to see are just allegations levied by an anonymous source.
Actually, because this shit just doesn't look good. Fuck the, fuck that. We're just gonna do display capture. Minimize you. That's the wrong thing. And we're just gonna watch it
Through a third party. So don't just jump to conclusions and start making assumptions, as there is very limited information here to make any real verdict. On May 1st, 2025, at exactly 9 a.m., depending on where you live in the United States. United States, an account by the name of BronyFandon't posted this tweet, bringing forward some allegations against a notorious animation/cartoon channel known as SaberSpark. So for those of you who know a little bit about this situation, this tweet was posted multiple hours before a video was set to release going over these allegations, but the information is exactly the same across this tweet and the video, so if you can't find the original video, just know it's pretty redundant, but we'll get into that later. Now, these allegations start with an ex-fan stating that in 2011, they became a fan of SaberSpark after watching his video titled Ballad of the Brony, which, funnily enough, happens to be SaberSpark's first ever upload. This individual then states after turning 18, they added SaberSpark on Skype, exchanged phone numbers, which was a very big deal for them at the time, as this was the first time they had talked to any sort of celebrity. In 2012, this person attended their first pony convention, in which they described was the first time they traveled alone, and was soon after SaberSpark and them became friends. It is alleged that after meeting SaberSpark and...
So already off the bat, is this really all the allegations are? That after this person turned 18, they added him on Skype? And then they talked. I'm assuming something sexual must have happened with an 18-year-old. Oh no.
In person, he invited this individual back to his apartment, where they showed a video SaberSpark was working on, which caused them to internally geek out. Furthermore, according to the statement, SaberSpark brought up the prospects of both of these individuals dating and how it didn't feel right for them to do so. This person does make a mention of a 4 to 5 year age gap here as well, but since this person was 18 at the time and SaberSpark would have been around 22 or 23, this is a pretty negligible detail, as the difference between two college-aged individuals in 2012 is also quite negligible. The testimony goes on to say after that, he almost immediately initiated making out with me and guided me to his bed. In this moment, he did not directly ask me for consent. I was...
Oh my god. The person making these allegations is one of those types. He didn't ask for consent. He didn't ask me for my consent explicitly. So he assaulted me, even though at no point did I say no. Or try to curb the advances, or try to end the situation. I didn't do any of that. I didn't try to stop anything, didn't try to... nothing like that. But he assaulted me. Because he didn't outright blatantly ask for my consent. Fucking brain dead. Fucking brain dead retard logic, dude. Like, straight up.
Thrown onto his bed, and he would insert himself into me. SaberSpark was also significantly larger than me, as I was an 80-something pound 18-year-old girl, so I physically could not stop him. I felt extremely nervous and uncomfortable because I had never experienced having any sort of sexual intimacy with someone I was not dating before, much less someone I just met. I was very new to meeting people online in general. At that moment, I laid there, dissociating, as it felt very wrong while trying to rationalize it in my head to convince myself it was a safe and normal encounter. He rushed off to clean and finish himself and came back to the bed and offered me a handshake, saying, "Friends." This would cause me for the rest of the event to feel that I was taken advantage of and ashamed myself for not trying to stop the interaction. Though I tried pretending I was fine to everyone around me, I was and still am demisexual, and being put in that position was not something that I wanted. So just to pause for a moment and give my brief opinion, don't take what I say here with too much credence, but this story does feel very sensational. It also doesn't help that this story isn't providing any evidence at all. Not even...
You think? You don't say. Feels very sensational and doesn't provide any evidence. Wow. It's almost like whoever it is like doesn't actually care about evidence or anything. Just they just care about having their big story or something like that.
Circumstantial evidence. So take that as you will. Now, to be clear, I am not discounting or dismissing the story, but there needs to be more here. The testimony goes on to say, I maintained the friendship until a second occurrence happening at a completely different PonyCon in 2013. This time we met in a public space but had no one around and talked for a while. He kept bringing up the prospects of us starting a relationship and how it felt wrong. He would grab my hand saying it felt so right, only to push my hand away saying but so wrong. I had decided that my crush on him was something I needed to get over because I felt my emotions were being toyed with. He then suggested going to a more public space around others, and we went into an elevator to go to the lobby of the PonyCon hotel. As soon as the door closed, SaberSpark forcefully shoved me against the wall and shoved his tongue down my throat. It scared me and actually hurt, triggering another attack of dissociation. Once again, he did not ask for consent when throwing me into the situation. Once the doors opened and people were present, this led me to feel very embarrassed. He got off me and took my hand and guided me towards the stairs to go back down to where we just were and into a men's restroom, where he pulled his pants down and guided my hands and head to perform oral sex on him. I was afraid of denying him because of past experiences with sexual assault, so I did it to get it over with without wanting to cause a problem, where he would ejaculate on my face, apologize profusely, and then offer the same handshake as he did at the con I initially met him, saying friends. Despite pretending I was fine, I had slowly begun pulling away from SaberSpark. I cried that night while staying with a friend, but waited for that friend to fall asleep so no one could hear me, and I would cry for months, feeling ashamed of myself for putting myself in a compromising situation with someone I hardly knew. I had always felt taken advantage of by him and tried being friendly and pretending nothing was wrong because it was all I knew how to do. I would blame myself for the interactions for years and only opening up a few close people.
Do they ever show any, like, screenshots of any messages between them showing that they actually had any contact with SaberSpark? Because, like, as it stands right now, I don't really, like, believe any of this at all. Just this random person randomly coming out with these allegations that happened fucking years ago, because that's how it always is, but then now randomly they've got the courage to say whatever. And it's just filled with such random nonsense details. It doesn't make any sense.
Questioning if consent was implied because of my crush and unwillingness and fear to outright try to stop the advance because of how uncomfortable I felt. I understand that there is a possibility that he felt consent was implied because he knew I had a crush on him. However, he not once asked me for consent directly and was instead thrown into these sexual interactions, usually very suddenly. There were no discussions about the power dynamic between us as a popular content creator and a fan at any time, and my parasocial connection to him and not wanting someone I was a fan of to hate me if I rejected him, leaving me afraid to stop his advances. Over time, I grew increasingly distant and would eventually end contact completely. I don't feel safe enough to fully come forward because I don't want his fans and friends or even him to harass or contact me publicly. I wish to stay anonymous so I can avoid the anxiety and stress of being targeted by either him, himself, his friends, and especially his fans. As SaberSpark has over 2 million subscribers, and even sharing my story at all has me feeling really afraid. I have seen other instances of SaberSpark using his enormous...
Okay. That's fucking stupid. I'm sorry, but if you're gonna come out with allegations against, like, someone, it doesn't even matter that it's a creator or that it's some, like, an e-celebrity or, like, whatever. It doesn't, an influencer. It doesn't matter that who it is. If you're gonna come out with allegations, but you're not gonna put your name behind it, you're not gonna put any evidence behind it, you're not gonna provide anything, that you're literally doing nothing. You're doing yourself no help. At that point, what the fuck's the point of coming out with it? Because you've been quiet about it for however many years. Because apparently all this stuff happened back when SaberSpark was 22 or whatever, apparently, according to this. I'm not sure how old SaberSpark is now, but the fact that it happened... This happened years ago, and now you have this need to come out with it, but you're not going to put your name or anything... You're not going to put anything identifiable to you behind it, and you're not going to put any evidence behind it. What's the point? Because, like, if you felt the need, if you had, like, I don't understand why now you'd have this sudden need to, like, to put this out there when you could have done that at any point over the past years. Like, I don't wish to publicly defend my personal experience and just wished to share my experience. But, like, why? Like, you're saying this stuff about a creator. You should know that person's got an audience. So you should know that people are gonna question you. Like that, wanting to not have to provide any actual details or anything, any evidence, is the only reason I could think of that you wouldn't want. You would come out like with this, but then intentionally keep your name and whatnot out of it, because you don't want to have to answer any questions or be pressed on like details of the situation.
His platform to confront people online he has had conflict with and hurt. I have also witnessed several instances of his friends attempting to justify him and his other actions. I was not made aware of his jokes about consent and his recent behavior involving Chris until only recently, and it left my stomach in knots. I please ask above all else for my privacy to be respected. I don't wish to publicly defend my personal experience and just wish to share my experience. Okay, so there are some glaring issues here. First, it's the incredibly noticeable lack of evidence here. There is no text message exchanges, we don't know the context or dynamics of their relationship, don't know how these people communicated to each other, and don't know how this person's feelings changed in the last 13 years, etc, etc, etc. Second, there are the loaded and leading implications of lack of consent here, which I'm not denying is true or otherwise. And also, the loaded statement of power dynamics and parasociality with a quote-unquote celebrity or something similar. There's just too many phrasings here that feel as if they were made to inflate the severity of these alleged interactions. The reason why it's important to take note of this is because in the past, allegations that have been levied in this fashion were not entirely transparent, or they...
Personally, I've always hated the idea of power dynamics, because it's like, just, especially when it comes to e-celebrities, because just fucking say no. There's like nothing bad could happen.
Realized mistruths. I'm not saying that is the case here, but it's important to take things like this into consideration before condemning someone. There is also the issue that this story is tied into a much larger story involving a person known as Chris, which apparently motivated this person to speak out against SaberSpark. And this does bring into question what the true motive was here. Furthermore, the way that this was delivered also seems to have been done in the most amateur way possible, with there being no further digging into the story, no pushback, and no attempt to make sense of the allegations being levied. And honestly, it feels a bit bad faith, especially when you take a look into what these people had to say after bringing forward these allegations in their video.
One point in her testimony where she questions, if I'm remembering this correctly, that like maybe she was at fault because she had a crush on him, like maybe she gave the wrong signal or something, maybe she implied something, or he thought consent was implied because he knew there was a crush on her. Like, in all honesty, consent is never implied.
They go on.
Incorrect. There are plenty of situations where consent is implied. That is just objectively false. If you're talking with a girl about hooking up and stuff, but you're not like saying like, oh, first time we hang out, we're gonna like fuck or whatever, and then you go and you hang out, there's already that kind of implied, and there's a level of there is a level of implied consent that any guy realistically in that situation is will go into the situation thinking that there is a certain level of implied consent for us, the guy, to be able to make the first move, to make some sort of first move. That is a fact. So at that point, because there is that level of implied consent, it is on the fucking woman, or it's on the other person to then, if they don't actually want that in that moment, to fucking say something instead of just going along with it to get it over with. Because I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck what your previous bad experiences were. Acting with everyone based off of some people, the way some people have interacted with you, is fucking dumb. I've always thought that, always will.
To deny the existence of implied consent and contradict themselves in the same conversation just a little bit later by describing a situation that's okay in their book that is literally implied consent.
Flashing her titties in the rock star's face, probably making out with him a bit of her own volition, and one of them saying, hey, let's go back and sleep in the van. Like, there are multiple instances where consent is very, very clearly given by the groupie sleeping with a rock star. And, like, yeah, there may be a certain power dynamic, and, like, there absolutely is multiple instances of rock stars abusing that to be like, hey, well, I'm famous, show me your titties. But there's a big difference between going, hey, I'm famous, show me your titties, and someone going, I'm showing you my titties because I want to sleep with you. Right? Like,
And nowhere in this conversation did they attempt to be charitable, attempt to analyze the situation, or give any pushback about there being a potential miscommunication instead of a fan being purely taken advantage of, and instead give all of the benefit to this person who only decided to come out with a story 13 years later.
and I also find it really, really weird that this dude meets a fan, gets the inkling she has a crush on him, so he invites her back to his hotel room. Okay, like, getting invited back to the hotel room has sexual connotations.
Yes, and accepting
and the
that
fact
invite.
that she didn't realize that just shows how naive she was, and the fact that
So it's his fault that she was naive, but you're also forcibly prescribing naivety onto her. Why does it have to be that she was naive?
none of that was communicated, because clearly he knew what he was inviting her back to the hotel room for, but she didn't. And that just gives me, like, the major ick, to be quite honest, because, like,
So then once she figured it out, what it is that he wanted, she had every ability to just say no. Like, it's the same fucking thing with drugs. Just fucking say no. It's not hard. It's very simple. 99% of the time when you tell a guy no, they're gonna just take that as a no. And then stop. They're not gonna keep fucking going. Like, I can't be the only one who looks at it like that, where you just tell the nigga no. Chances are, in the vast majority of situations, you tell them no, they're just gonna stop. Because especially certain guys where it's like, if you're actually having the opportunity to have sex with someone, but then a girl says no, or like things are going well, like, you want things to continue to go well for as long as possible. Most guys think that way. Because, like, I know for myself, whenever it comes to, like, sexual encounters with women and stuff like that, I'm always asking, because it's just how I am. I'm always like, are you okay with this? Is this okay? Is this good? Do you want me to stop? You want me to keep going? Like, whatever. I try to check every fucking box. One, because for me personally, I enjoy sex more when the person I'm having sex with is enjoying what's happening and what's going on. So I try to keep that communication going pretty much the whole time. But but then there's also that fact of, like, if a girl, which it's never really happened. Nah, it's never happened. If a girl at any point, like, was like, no, like, stop, and it wasn't like an established, like, I'm gonna say to stop but don't actually stop thing, if it's not one of those things, and it's like an actual stop, then you just fucking stop, because it makes her feel better. It makes the situation better, because then it's like, okay, things are good. Like, for whatever reason she tells you to stop, whether it's for whatever, however many reasons there are where a woman could tell you to stop. If you just listen and stop, and it's not depending on why it is that she's telling you to stop, it will make you look good, and the chances are you might have a chance again. Who knows? Yeah. Just when it comes to sex, just do what women tell you they want you to do. Honestly, that's as simple as it gets. They say choke them, slap them. That's a little iffy for me personally. I'm not a big on slapping, but hey, whatever. If you can do it, do it. Fucking, they say raw. If you're comfortable doing raw, then fucking go raw. I'm someone I'd have never had a problem. I don't give a shit. Either way. If you're someone who's like, oh, if a girl says that she wants a condom and you're a guy who's like, oh, condoms feel weird, stop fucking lying. They feel no different.
Like, it's really as if Saber is acting like he's Gene Simmons inviting you back to, you know, the hotel room.
I need to find this video. Whatever this video is, I need to find it.
When in reality, he's a pudgy brony YouTuber showing you his...
He's not a fucking brony YouTuber. That's not what he does.
He shows you his dick. Like, that's not the same thing at all.
These people don't even know to what extent these allegations are true, and they're already casting this claim that these two situations cannot be compared and that he took advantage of this girl's naivety when we don't actually know what even took place here. We don't even know the dynamics at play, and we don't have any evidence that can lead us to any reasonable conclusion. Of course, allegations like these are very complicated due to how little room there is to navigate a one-sided claim that has very little to no evidence to back it. The most proper course of action here would be to wait for a response and not jump to conclusions, which, funnily enough, are standards that the author of the video set for monitoring their communities, but didn't even follow themselves. With that being said, you may come to your own conclusions. Feel free to disagree with anything that I said. This is a developing story that...
Goddamn, 55. Okay, we might be coming back to Gamma because that's a 55... Almost an hour... That's something... That's... Whatever that is almost an hour long on the topic. I'm not, like, familiar with... I feel like I feel like I know the name Gamma, but I'm not familiar with him. Only 4.8 thousand subs. We'll hit him with a subscribe. We'll come back to his. Okay, so and now there's this one. So let's see about this one.
Someone your own age, you can't take advantage of.
For some reason, people think I'm unqualified to do this.
You know, I think they might have been onto something.
Hello Sloppers, welcome back to Slop Live. Have you ever wondered what would happen if an animation critic took on the opportunity to expose serious predator allegations and just didn't know how to switch off of internet funny man mode? Well, that's what we've got here today, because as of last night, as of writing this video,
oh my god, this guy's a fucking Spider-Man player. Fucking
task of exposing two very large YouTube
give up on
in the
life.
Same 2-hour video and alleging some very serious allegations against both, and proceeded to...
Oh wait, okay, wait.
Funny man mode. Well, that's what we've got here today, because as of last night, as of writing this video, the creator known as I Love Kim Possible a Lot took on the daunting task of exposing two very large YouTube creators in the same 2-hour video and alleging some very serious allegations against both, and proceeded to completely fall flat on her face and ass.
I Love Kim Possible a Lot is the person's name. Got it. Okay. Okay, that's the person's name. Hello, welcome, whoever's watching.
By not treating the subject with any amount of respect. The creators being accused are DA Games, most famous for his original songs based off of video games such as Five Nights at Freddy's, Bendy and the Ink Machine, so on and so forth, and SaberSpark, one of the most popular channels in the YouTube cartoon community and the strongest gooner of today. The gist of it is that DA Games is being accused of preying on a minor with a lot of receipts and evidence, regardless of their potential validity, and SaberSpark is being accused of sexually assaulting someone 12 years ago with a single twit longer that was posted by a third party. Now, in this video, I'm not going to go into the validity of the claims themselves, because I'm not really in a position to do that, and I think most of us watching can agree that victims should have their stories heard out and should be supported, and if possible not completely writing someone off as a rapist based on hearsay and no concrete evidence. Because what I actually want to focus on is the absolute state of the video containing all this information, how it is pretty much the textbook definition of how not to do an exposed video with serious topics. This is, without exaggeration, one of the worst videos I've seen on this platform. I am not being hyperbolic, I am not being dramatic. I have seen a lot of terrible exposed videos before, and this is genuinely a contender for the absolute worst. And it shows
Mama Max downfall video.
And a victim's accusations can be affected.
There's so much shit to watch.
Handled by dipshit YouTubers who care more about entertaining people and clout chasing than actually spreading awareness. Let's just dive right in. This video's tone is fucking rancid. Despite the incredibly serious subject matter that should be handled with the utmost care and respect, I Love Kim Possible a Lot, who I will be referring to as KP for the rest of this video because Jesus Christ, what a name, doesn't really seem to give a shit because this video is absolutely chock full of painfully unfunny reaction memes, poor taste jokes, and painfully unfunny sketch comedy that completely obliterates the tone and seriousness of the video and inherently devalues the allegations and how seriously people should take them. Here's a short compilation.
Welcome to another segment of Maybe the Internet Was a Big Fucking Mistake.
Big mistake.
Imagine consequences for your actions. Part 2. Will Ryan is a textbook pedo and probably very unstable person. Sorry, yo. Then child grooming is bad, right?
Well,
No shit.
Guess you can be Jerry Seinfeld, who dated a 17-year-old when he was 38.
And she's also 17.
Bold and beautiful.
She's so young, she doesn't realize I'm a predator.
Because you don't want to go to college. It's just shitty and selfish.
Oh, you are just the worst type of person.
Nothing happened. Cool.
Is the laugh track in the original, or did this person put the laugh track there? Because if the laugh track is in the original, that's fucking wild to put a fucking laugh track. That is wild to put a laugh track on this.
There's a big surprise! I've come to make an announcement! Shadow the Hedgehog is a bitch-ass motherfucker! He pissed on my wife, that's right! He said his dick was this big!
And that's just scratching the surface. When it comes to allegations that are this serious, treating your exposed video like an episode of Seinfeld is probably the worst choice you could possibly make. It's an insult to the victims, it's an insult to the audience's intelligence, and it all reflects poorly on you. KP responded to these critiques shortly after taking the video down by claiming, Guys, this is my first time actually covering a topic of this nature, so sorry if I handled it poorly, which is a complete lie because they already made a video about Lily Orchard which covered these same topics and was handled with far more care than this. And then there's also the fact that you're a grown-ass woman and you should know better than to treat your predator exposed video like a meme compilation. I have no idea what compelled KP to treat the situation as unseriously as she did, while pretending she was taking it seriously. And this extends to her activity outside of this video. What some people don't know is that the presentation of this video wasn't some massive oversight. It was a direct result of KP's ego being so inflated that she deluded herself into thinking she was the main character. On her Twitter, she has been hyping this video up for weeks. You heard that right. Hyping it up. Hyping up a video about serious allegations that don't even affect her because I guess she just thought it was funny. Dawn of the first day, 72 hours remain. Time to kick some pedo and rapist ass tomorrow, smiley face. Yes, Your Honor, please draw your attention to the YouTube clip I uploaded
that's
last
wild.
week. What other reason is there for this that's somehow more charitable than you finding it funny? Because that's bad enough on its own. The only other alternative is that the entire time you were making this video, you were rubbing your hands together like a cartoon villain and fantasizing about how much clout you were going to get from taking down 2 channels of over 1 million subs and beating down on predators. I like to believe in the best in people, and personally, I think the best I can see in you is that you just found the entire
this just makes me
want to
fucking kill myself seeing this guy play Spider-Man.
This shit is
It's
so
fucking
cringe. Jesus
pathetic.
Christ, there should be an award for being this tactless. It's Expose Week, just call me Moses because I'm about to bring down some plagues. And then she attaches some fan art a person drew of her where she's portrayed as Moses holding up the Discord commandments. Stop hyping up a video about predator allegations, you fucking buffoon. You are not Kendrick Lamar. And we're still not done when it comes to her complete lack of tact with this situation. KP managed to get a good few people to provide their voices to narrate certain parts of the video, with some people you might actually recognize, like June the King, for example. However, it's become very clear that KP was very likely not honest at all about what she needed these people's voices for. Kayla says, the person who provided the voiceover for the beginning of the video, commented on a re-upload stating that KP had not told him what the video was going to be about and what she needed the audio for in the first place. She was completely out of the loop of whatever this was, and only accepted the offer because her and KP were mutuals. Obviously, it's probably a good idea to know what you were working on before sending voice lines over, but this is still incredibly interesting, and unfortunately, it can be backed up with actual proof from a different source. A small YouTuber known as StillDubs was contacted by KP to provide voices for the video as well.
I mean, that's a
Only
shitty thing to
StillDubs
do,
ended up
to
declining
lie
the
to
offer
him,
since
but...
KP wasn't in a position to pay them for their work, apparently. Yes, a 120,000 sub YouTuber who's been on the platform for over 10 years can't be bothered to pay for a handful of lines. Like, holy shit, it would have been like $5-10 at most, but okay. Getting past that hurdle, Still dumped their DMs of KP on Twitter, and the entire conversation really shows how profoundly unprofessional she is. Completely refusing to let Stell in on what is actually being covered and why she needs the voiceover, simply telling them she wants to do a funny voice and describing the video's content as spicy, continuing her complete lack of respect for the subject matter by treating it all like a massive joke and keeping VAs completely in the dark about what they're actually providing their voices for. Now, not every VA used for the video has come out about it so far, at least to my knowledge, but this is a pretty concerning pattern. And then there's the matter of them just taking someone else's audio and using it without permission. Remember that god-awful Sonic fan dub reference she made about SaberSpark? Well, you may have noticed that it isn't the original audio from Snapcube, but instead an alternative dub of it from a different person. Now, given this video's use of voice actors, you would probably be under the impression this is someone she hired to do an unfunny skit. But no, it's actually a completely unrelated audio clip from Veggie BLT, where he did a full cosplay of Dr. Eggman while reciting the pissing on the moon bit from the Snapcube dub, and he was completely unaware and was not asked for permission. Now, you may be wondering, what's the big deal? The entire point of making memes is recycling content into something new. Well, considering every other cover VA featured in this video was signed on to the project, some people are gonna assume that this redub of an old Sonic video was made specifically for this video, and it's completely unfair on the creator of the audio given they're a much smaller channel and want nothing to do with this. Which begs the question of why the f didn't you just use the original Snapcube audio? That audio is iconic, everyone using the internet knows where it's from, and there would be no confusion. Why use a smaller creator's dubbed audio and make them feel uncomfortable being tied to a project like this when there is literally no difference between the two besides the completely different voices? Everything about this video is so unprofessional, it is blowing my mind. Alright, let's get into some other issues. This video was not supposed to be about SaberSpark. It was originally just supposed to be about DA Games. There have been allegations towards DA Games for a while now that just haven't hit most people's radar since not a lot of people know the full context and haven't been able to make videos about it. KP was originally making a massive expose on DA Games specifically, and it's why for the first hour or so of the video it is just about DA Games with pretty much no mention of SaberSpark anywhere to be found. So why is SaberSpark here exactly? Well, since this video was premiered on YouTube, it actually has a live chat we can look at where KP admits that most of the video is fully completed before the SaberSpark allegations dropped, effectively confirming that she decided to sloppily attach SaberSpark's name and allegations to her
what the
DA
fuck?
Games exposed video for what reason exactly? These are two very different situations and should be covered in their own separate videos. They have literally no relation to each other. The only factor I can think of is that both DA Games and SaberSpark knew and were friends with Black Griffon, someone who was also recently accused of terrible shit like grooming a minor. And while Griffon does play a decent part in both stories here, these situations are way too different to just be thrown together like this, not to mention the massive difference when it comes to the evidence here. I already said I wasn't going to go into the validity of the allegations themselves and just wanted to focus on how they were tackled, but it's so obvious this was originally a DA Games video, and Saber was just slapped into it last minute, because DA Games has a decent bit of evidence against him, whereas Saber currently only has a single twit longer. If KP actually cared about the allegations against Saber, they would wait until more information came out before publishing this video, or just leave the Saber stuff for its own entire video. Saber plays such a minuscule part in this video, by the way, yet he's the first name put in the title, he's in the thumbnail, and KP hyped up his inclusion for weeks. It's almost like Saber was haphazardly thrown into the video and marketed as the main focus purely for clicks, and not out of an actual sense of justice or care for the victim. It's clout chasing, and if it isn't, then it certainly comes off that way. And let's not forget, by the way, KP knew about the Saber allegations weeks before they went public. They went public the day this video came out, in fact. So she was just sitting on this information for weeks. And I say she was sitting on this information and not just putting it in the video because she provides no new evidence at all. She provides the victim's testimony, which is basically the extent of what's actually out there, and that's it. Saber should not have been a main focus of this video. And the fact this information wasn't made public,
the fact that it's like a
she proceeded to do fuck all to actually look into it for more evidence and justify its inclusion is really dodgy. KP,
and the fact that
the victims are
there's like nothing
the truth here about DA Games and Saber, you have done a horrible job and have arguably put them in an even worse position. You know you don't exactly get second chances when it comes to covering serious allegations, right? The first shot is really your only shot, not because someone more competent can come in and set the record straight, but because the general public is fucking dumb. If you screw up the first expose on these people, then that's going to stick, and it's going to harm the credibility of the accusers through no fault of their own. If these people are telling the truth, you have failed these people, and I sincerely doubt any revisions you plan on making to this video when it gets re-uploaded are going to help. You are not in any position to cover subjects like this again, and no victim should ever trust you to spread awareness about their stories ever again. And let's not forget that Courtney, one of the people you had work on this video with you, was spotted in the live chat arguing with and shaming CSA survivors who were not happy with the video's presentation, and how you turn this into a spectacle. If you have such blatant disrespect for the matter of sexual assault and predation that you need to treat your coverage of it as a complete joke, and then one of the people who helped work on this video with you is getting passive-aggressive with CSA survivors in the live chat, then how the fuck do you expect anyone to take you seriously ever again? Please, for your sake and the victims, do not cover situations like this again. I don't care that you're working on a revision for the video. Either you hand the topic off to someone who's more qualified, or you simply leave it alone. You had your shot and you blew it. There's some other things I could probably talk about, like how there's a random section about Lily Orchard in this video for literally no reason, or the fact that Chris Chan typed a message in the live chat and everyone thought that was just
what? It felt like shit like this has gone on for far too long. We even have people in power who are just as bad and worse, and it just makes me feel more than sick of why. Oh my god, of course fucking Chris Chan was in the chat for this shit. That's crazy. Dude, it's like no matter where you go with internet drama, if it has to deal with like cartoon characters, somehow Chris Chan is always fucking connected. Like, why is Chris Chan always connected to anything that has to do with drama and like cartoon fucking characters and whatnot? Or like, why? Why did we let that man out of prison?
normal for some reason, but that's basically all I have to talk about here. I'm sure within the coming weeks there will be more developments in the SaberSpark and DA game situations respectively, and whether the allegations are revealed to be true or false is anyone's guess. I just wanted to focus on this video because it is a perfect example of how not to expose YouTubers for serious stuff like this, and how dumbass YouTubers have the potential to completely sabotage the victim's efforts to seek justice if they are telling the truth. It's a gross video, and I hope everyone involved with the production regrets it for the rest of their lives. Anyway, that's the end of the video, and if you've ever suffered at the hands of a predator or abuser, then please take it for the proper channels and authority figures who can help you seek justice, and not a brony YouTuber with a dying channel.
Okay. So that was the end of that one. That was like the only 2 videos that I had saw on YouTube when I was trying to look up stuff for it. 'Cause, I mean, there's this one that's like 3 minutes long, but I doubt it's gonna be anything crazy. Here's an archive of it. From victim on Twitter. I don't know. Is there anything? Are there any other? I don't know. I don't know if I should watch the full fucking like thing, you know? I don't know. Should I watch the whole thing? Oh shit, Himpleton scheduled his stream. He's gonna money do stuff to fuck. I find that now I feel like I should wait for Himpleton's fucking should I ah. Was it cock? What is it that's not letting me do? I wonder what it is that's not letting me do it. Big black gay. Was it black? That's what it was? It was black that wasn't letting me do it? It was delivered or not? The fuck? That's crazy. Hell, I might be live now, stay live the whole way through until fucking Himpleton goes live. I might just wait. Ugh. Well, we'll keep that in mind. 17 hours ago. So this is like new shit. Okay. Well, then we'll listen to this.
The reason why they platform these allegations is because, yeah, that sounds like something he'd do. It is literally vibes-based. They have no evidence.
That's why she's the voice actress.
No, right.
Oh, that's actually her. That's why she's the voice actress. That is actually her. There could not have been a power imbalance, as is claimed in the testimony, because both of these individuals were prolific in their own right. The information keeps changing. So I have to preface this segment by saying that a lot of the information that's going to be covered, even by what's being shown on this document here, is going to be very speculatory. So make your own conclusions, draw your own assumptions, right? Think critically of what you're about to see and what the coverage here is going to be. But before I even get into this document, to give a little bit of a callback to what the allegations are, there is an anonymous victim that has came out against SaberSpark alleging rape. It's very difficult to actually classify.
We're just gonna keep going, listening to this. That's what we're gonna do. Apparently, this is new shit, and a whole new doc or whatever came out on SaberSpark. So we're just gonna listen to this. Since I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait for. I think I'm gonna not watch the new Mama Max video. I'm gonna wait, and I guess I'll watch it with Himpleton and the others tonight when Himpleton goes live. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So, yeah, that's I think that's the plan now. So we'll just listen to this. This is an hour, because I mean we got 5 hours till Himpleton stream. So we'll yeah. All right, let's let it play.
Or define this entire interaction or what's being alleged here as rape, given some of the details provided and given this person's own recount of the situation, such as wanting to get one of the actions over with because she didn't feel like she wanted to get rejected, right? Etc., etc., etc. Also, there has been some inconsistencies in the story. She alleges that one event happened in 2012. She alleges that another event happened in 2013, which this person has since rescinded and corrected. It said that both events took place in 2012. So the story does get a little bit murky. The details here are also somewhat, I want to say, not that detailed, and it's casting some heavy shade, making like some very heavy implications. It makes the allegation seem incredibly inconsistent and untrustworthy. So someone would be right to be skeptical. But what's important to mention immediately as well is that initially, when these allegations came out, everybody assumed that they were straight up fake, that they were fabricated, that this was some sort of fanfic, that it was made up by an individual.
I mean,
that
that's what
doesn't
everything
necessarily
seems.
seem to be the case. While the allegations themselves cannot, in good faith, be described or defined as rape legally, right? Maybe even colloquially, the allegations are not like, you know, 100% fanfic. This is not like a fanfic, completely fabricated story that came out of nowhere.
I mean, but to be able to say that, do they show evidence to the contrary? Because everything that we've seen and we know of, that everything that because in that doc, they didn't do anything to show that it was anything other than completely fabricated. Like, that's just, I'm like, sorry, but that's just a fact. Like, at no point did they provide anything at all to show or suggest that it was anything other than made up. It was literally just their word, and so much of it is just stupid. It makes no sense. That it's like, it makes it even harder to trust and believe anything that they're saying, because so much of what they did say was just fucking stupid. Yo, Balatro free on PlayStation Plus? Crazy.
There is something here. It probably just isn't rape or sexual assault the way that it's being described. So, before we get into this document, to be clear, which there seems to be a lot of information.
So it's what it's sounding like is whatever this new info or whatever it is, what it sounds like already to me is that it's going to be some sort of situation where it was just an awkward. It didn't even necessarily have to have been an awkward sexual encounter. It was just a sexual encounter that this chick ends up regretting, and so then tries to take back on it. Thus almost like trying to fucking crucify, or like, I don't know, whatever's the best way to word it, but trying to take it out on that guy on SaberSpark. What the fuck is this? Fuck off. That's fucking stupid.
I want to go through this interview so that we can have a little bit of additional information to what motivated these allegations to come out in the first place. So
I'll verify.
Already what I'm gathering from this, right, based on the information that's being presented and the involvement of KP between, like, you know, DA Games.
Oh,
Chris,
God.
aka Black
This guy's...
Griffin,
I thought the voice sounded familiar. This motherfucker's... Slug interviewed the chick who made the fucking really shitty fucking video? You're kidding me. How does someone like fucking Slug do things like this? Like, I don't get it. Did Slug start a new channel? With his new, like... Is he trying to start a new channel to separate himself from everything, all the bad press related to his old channel? Since now he graduated or whatever from journalism school or whatever. So now he's like technically like a journalist, even though he's still a fucking retard and does not have the mental or emotional capacity to ever be trusted with any fucking reporting on anything ever. Because, like, sorry, that's just what it is. He should not be trusted for reporting on anything ever.
Spark is that it seems like the likelihood of SaberSpark's allegations being attached to this building case, or should I say this building story, seems to have been deliberate.
By all this stuff outside of this, what evidence did you receive from the alleged victim that was able to verify the claims?
There we go. This is what's important here. What evidence did KP receive or the allegations that were published towards the end of this expose against Black Griffin and DA Games. Because if it was just attached towards the end of this video, right, in an attempt to also like involve SaberSpark in what is obviously a very motivated story with some people that you could definitely argue are malicious actors, then it makes it seem as if these allegations came from a place of just smearing somebody who's attached to that story, rather than it actually being legitimate allegations. So if she just published these claims without any evidence, then not only is that already incredibly dangerous for the story, and it hurts the credibility of the story, but it will just lead significantly more people to assume that there's nothing here, that there's absolutely something to be skeptical of, and again, these are just potential thoughts that people might have, right? This is not a definitive claim of anything.
Right.
It'll lead people to believe that these allegations came from a place of just wanting to smear somebody and ruin somebody's career, rather than an actual victim story.
It's based on two things. Mostly, I also was friends with Saber around 2015 or so. So a lot of the things that she described matched characterization of him, from at least my perspective.
A lot of things that she described match characterization of them.
Oh God.
What?
Oh God, that's not evidence.
That's like saying that somebody who is like prolifically mean, who is known for being a fucking asshole, when they're randomly accused of murder.
That's not evidence. Oh, my friend told me this, and it matches the characterization of them or whatever that I have, so I figured it was true. That's not evidence, and that's definitely not enough evidence to add them on into to try to make an expose on them on your fucking YouTube channel. Fucking hell, this chick is a fucking retard. She's already a big enough retard for accepting an interview with Slug. Like, let's just stop there. If you're accepting an invitation to do an interview with Slug, you've already lost the fucking plot. You've already lost the plot.
Murder, just because murder is a mean thing to do, in air quotes, to be clear, in air quotes, it like that's just like saying that murder is sounds like the thing somebody who's mean would do. It doesn't mean that they actually would commit murder. It doesn't mean that they'd actually go as far as to like do something heinous like that. What type of logic is this? What line of logic is this?
Of it, I knew of them, but I didn't know. I didn't really have any kind of relationship with them.
I knew of them. I knew of them. So that means that even prior to this story coming out, even prior to these allegations or this testimony,
she didn't know who the fuck he was. She didn't.
KP knew of them. So that means that this person would have had some sort of repertoire or some sort of notoriety within this sort of circle that these people are a part of, right? Which sort of aligns with this somewhat vindictive sounding open letter to KP, right? This sort of open letter could also be taken with a grain of salt, because Casey might have their own, conflicts of interest as well, or they might just be incredibly vindictive. But there is some alignment here. There is some alignment here about your anonymous victim. My ass. Of course I know who it is. I used to be friends with her too. There's a reason that's past tense. That girl has victims. A lot of them, actually. You simply didn't do the work to have journalistic integrity. You are supposed to vet sources and confirm stories. A simple Google search of her name, Drama, could have told you all the crap the chick has done that is public knowledge, and that perhaps she is not a person to stake your reputation on. See what I mean? So that means that KP would have definitely known that this individual was somewhat prolific in the past, because she knew of them. So this here, in my mind, and again, this is speculatory, this is incredibly speculatory, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, this sort of connects, right? It's corroborated. However, you also know a list of people who could have told you the stuff she has done that is not widely known or public information. Again, KP knew of her, according to the claims from that interview,
right,
including the man you allegedly have in common, who could, I don't know who that specifically is, but it'll probably, come to pass, or it'll probably be expanded upon later. In your defense, a lot of people have put you on an information diet, and while you may have tried to research, folks in your personal life already find you untrustworthy and maybe told you jack squat. Means a lot.
And when I so the video was mostly complete at this point. And then I was talking about it in my fan server, and Bonk, who runs the Brony Twitter, mentioned that he had someone additional who wanted to come forward about Saber. And so he got Amy to contact me. This is Amy New, who's tweeting about the victim right now.
Out to her. Yeah, I reached out to her on Blue Sky. I have not received any response, and that's completely fine.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Good, because nobody should respond to you ever, no matter what the situation.
So,
wait, who's known the victim for a long time? There we go. Amy. This person. Okay, so that's who Amy is. We've already discussed. And this is Amy. We've already discussed this person in the previous video. Okay.
Yeah, but she's known the victim for a long time. I have not. So so that's how we got in contact, and then I talked to them directly from that, and we just kind of compared. Obviously, hers is much worse than mine, but you know, Saber making me uncomfortable to that obviously is like there's no comparison. But as far as characterization, everything seemed to fit. Timeline.
So literally, their evidence is all the characterization that this individual has. The reason why they platform these allegations is because, yeah, that sounds like something he'd do. It is literally vibes-based. They have no evidence.
Of their own activity in the fandom seemed to fit. There was video evidence of, you know, when they were active in the fandom. I think that's all I can really say without...
Okay. To re-emphasize my opinion, to re-emphasize my take on this, right? To re-emphasize this because this is really important. The reason they platformed these allegations, these unfounded, unsubstantiated allegations, is because they felt on vibes that this would be something he'd do, and because he was there at that convention. They have nothing else. Wow.
Giving away
wild.
details, yep.
So just to be as objective as possible here. So what you're saying is that basically the evidence that you were given was more personal circumstance and hearsay rather than like objective evidence.
So they had nothing. They had no reason to push these allegations. They literally had no reason to push these allegations besides, yeah, I feel like he'd do it. Jesus Christ. These people are so incompetent.
Correct. They didn't have any Skype logs or anything because of how long it was ago, and we did ask. So
they had no evidence. They have, okay, so they asked for additional evidence. They got no evidence. This person couldn't even access evidence. And they pushed the allegations anyways because, yeah, that sounds like something he'd do. Yeah, I feel like he'd do that.
That is crazy
yeah,
reasoning.
He was there. What the fuck
Going,
are these people
running with assault allegations because of vibes is crazy.
At that point, when it comes to this, in our conversation, you mentioned there was a, let me at least scroll up, the victim and less on the shitty victim. So what did you mean by that?
Let me find where you're quoting. Yeah, so, yeah, I understand what you're asking. So the video is...
Yeah, we feel like he'd do something like this, and he was there, so he must be guilty.
You know, I was blindsided by it, so I'm just kind of processing it. But
these people do not understand what due process is. These people do not understand what like fucking, you know, body of crime is, right? Just because somebody was at the scene of the crime and they have blood on their hands doesn't mean that they fucking stabbed a guy. For all you know, he probably got blood on his hands because he was trying to fucking save the guy, you know, trying to save the guy's life, right? That's why it's important to gather information and evidence to secure a verdict, to make absolutely sure that this individual is responsible for what you're accusing him of.
For those who are unfamiliar with my content,
that
there's a lot of memes in between to help the flow and the comedy of the videos, so we were just kind of doing that automatically with this video.
No! When you hype up a video like that, right, with the express purpose of fucking take a shot at somebody's career to take them down, as you mentioned in your community post, can't wait to fucking expose a pedophile tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
For all of you who remember that, you are already framing this as a shot at somebody's reputation. So when the majority of your video isn't filled with concrete evidence and you're just posting memes throughout your video, of course people are going to be skeptical of literally everything that you're saying. You're botching the believability of your stories. Not just that, but you're admitting that you don't have any evidence and you never had any evidence. You're going purely off of vibes and hearsay. These people are fucking unhinged.
Video. Didn't realize it was tone deaf until after it was uploaded and people
didn't realize it was tone deaf until after the video was uploaded.
Yeah, that's just bullshit.
What? Dude, this is exactly, look. People like this, right? People like this are exactly the reason as to why I became a YouTuber. Because whenever situations like these happen, right? There's always going to be a decent percentage, a decent chunk of individuals that are going to hear something in passing and be like, oh my god, the SaberSpark allegations. I heard about that. I watched a YouTube video covering that not too long ago, right? They won't realize that the information at hand is uncritical and unsubstantiated, and then they'll continue to repeat those allegations as if they're true, right? A couple of months from now, you're going to see this effect. Some people are going to start talking about SaberSpark in some comment section somewhere, and then some other person is going to be like, isn't that guy like a pedophile or something? Without ever being told that this guy was unfoundedly accused of something that has nothing to back it. That was accused of something with nothing to substantiate the allegations, right? To say the least. And like the reason why I started YouTube is because stories like these need to be corrected. Stories like these need to have some like impartial analysis that can give benefit to both sides of the story. And when you have this much going against you, it's impossible to give this person benefit. Of course, you have to be charitable to somebody that's being accused of something without evidence.
Voice their concerns, and I took it down pretty immediately after that to be retooled. But I don't really want, it's more important to be talking about the testimonies of both Saber and the DA Games victims, and not so much about how shitty the video is. I get it at this point. I get it.
Okay. So, just so I'm able to at least try and sanity check it a bit. So, the only evidence that has been given, in a sense, is hearsay, just more testimony rather than, like, stuff that is purely objectively there, if that makes sense?
To my knowledge.
Okay. Wanted to at least verify that. Now, in terms of, I guess, the alleged victim, if you were... How do I word this? So, if you were to say that this is something that needs to be taken with the utmost seriousness, despite no evidence, would you believe that it would be fair for people to disregard it entirely due to the lack of actual evidence?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay, so even by her own standards, she's pushing allegations that she believes is entirely fair play to not take seriously at all. So, if you understand that it's completely fair for people to not take your allegations seriously at all, then why bring forward the allegations in the first place?
Okay. I wanted to at least ask...
This is actually unhinged.
That, given the fact that these are serious allegations that can get Saber killed, because people are crazy, and I'd rather not have someone get killed over an allegation that has not been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, so based
like
on
all of your allegations that you
her motivations.
Like, come on, Slug. You've tried to dox people with for less.
I'm gonna be charitable here. But based everything that we've gathered in the past, 5 minutes alone, everything points like this was supposed to be a reputational hit. Everything points to KP's motivation being a kill shot at this guy's reputation, rather than an actual presentation of evidence and an actual attempt to seek justice for a victim. That's what all of the signs are pointing to. That's what all of these signs are pointing to.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, on top of that, you say that you know the victim, or at least know the victim well enough to speak out for them. What do you mean by that?
I guess we had conversations. They approved of the video. For the record, they did watch the whole video before it was uploaded, and they approved it. Multiple people did, so that's why I was like, oh, well, the victim's fine with it. I don't see what the problem is, guys, because I'm dumb.
No. All of these people are probably on the same mental wavelength as you. They're going to think it sounds about right, so he must have done it. Believe all victims, even though there's no evidence to substantiate the claims. So of course you're going to Like these people, you need proper people to like vet you. You need proper people to vet you. You can't just rely on like-minded individuals that are going to do a half-assed job and equally want to smear somebody the same way you want to smear somebody. If they offer no pushback, that you shouldn't take that as, okay, I'm possibly doing everything right here. If they offer you no pushback, you should probably wonder if these people are on the same fucking frequency as you, which is dangerous because what you need is proper criticism. If they had no problems with you pushing this video, you probably should have like double checked with more individuals.
But I mean, Amy has publicly stated that they're not well right now. So put the focus back more on the testimony than the video, I guess. But like, I feel like I know them well enough from talking with them that, you know, I can just vouch personally and say I believe in the testimony based on talking to them as much as I have. So.
Okay. Have you received any other evidence, such as like even a screenshot or a call log or something of that sort, aside from the conversation or the testimonial?
If she says that she's received no more evidence, I'm going to fucking lose it. If she says that if she says that she's received nothing more, I am going to fucking lose it. I am going to lose it if she says that she's received nothing more.
No, but I do.
Oh my fucking god!
This, like,
oh my
5, 6
god!
years ago, but I didn't really have
oh my god!
Something may be happening, but I didn't really have enough information to really.
Oh my god! She had nothing. She had no evidence the entire time. She literally pushed these allegations just because of vibes. She unironically pushed these allegations just because of vibes. But anyways, I'm actually not surprised. I'm very unsurprised that this is the case.
You know, but it was just kind of like rumory kind of thing. So like chronologically, I guess when the victim came forward and talked about what had happened, I was like, oh, I vaguely remember something like this. So I guess that also helped me too. Yep.
So in your eyes, this has been an ongoing open secret of an alleged thing with no evidence?
Discussed within certain members of the old Brony community, I guess.
Okay.
So this right here has some parallels to this. And I might be connecting dots. This is just speculation. I might just be connecting dots that aren't actually there. But this right here has some parallels to the end of the testimony. Over time, I grew increasingly distant and would eventually end contact completely. I don't feel safe enough to fully come forward because I don't want his fans and friends or even him to harass or contact me publicly. Right? Skip through all of that. I'm just pointing out where this is at. And then I have seen other instances of SaberSpark using his enormous platform to confront people online he has had conflict with and heard. I have also witnessed several instances of his friends attempting to justify him and his other actions. I was not made aware of his jokes about consent and his recent behavior involving Chris until only recently, and it left my stomach in knots. Not only is this a weird motivation, not only could this be a weird motivation as to why this person may have came out with a potential smearing story, right? But when we connect this to what she's saying here, it appears as if maybe there may have been some interaction between SaberSpark and this chick, right? But after a long time, like, you know, a long time and several litigation amongst friends, several discourse amongst friends, these people probably came to the conclusion, based on the information that everybody knows about each other, that this wasn't rape, right? It probably wasn't actually his friends attempting to justify his actions or justify the situation. It was probably them discussing, saying like, yeah, there's no way that could be in good faith considered rape, right? But this is just my speculation. This is just me speculating, to be clear. This is just me speculating. So take what I'm saying here with a grain of salt.
Put it that way.
So if people were to dig a little bit
Take it with
deeper,
a grain of fucking salt.
would there be anything that could prove these, or is it just, again, the whole thing of it's all hearsay?
There's
There
no
might be
evidence.
Footage of them at the conventions that they mentioned.
That wouldn't
the
prove
conventions
anything.
themselves weren't mentioned themselves, but
By the way,
All this person has is circumstantial evidence, and then just like word of mouth. That's it. They have nothing like for real. Nothing that would stick. Nothing that like there's just so. It's just there's just nothing.
the victim corroborated that there might be footage, that there might be pictures of them at the convention. To be clear. The victim corroborated this. And I'm pretty sure that this very well could be the case based on that Brony, that Brony podcast clip that I found. For those of you who remember in my previous coverage.
That's something that would be likely if they were to,
Just because two people met does not make it likely that a rape occurred. Not to mention that the way that this entire, testimonial describes the series of events, it doesn't seem like rape. As much as I hate to use rape loosely, and as much as I hate to just dismiss it, the way that it's described in this testimony seems either incredibly inflammatory, right?
There's so
It's incredibly leading.
This just feels.
It seems incredibly
The SaberSpark shit is so boring. There's it's so nothing. There's just nothing to it. Like, oh no, he hooked up with this girl when she was 18, and then now it's very obvious that she now just regrets it. So she made a fucking twit longer, and then sent the info to a friend of hers who apparently also does YouTube, and that friend sat on it for weeks, while hyping it up, making it sound like it's gonna be like a huge fucking like SaberSpark nuke. And then it just ends up being like a complete and utter. Just ends up being a complete and utter fucking nothing burger. Because there's nothing to it. There's nothing. There's nothing. She didn't show any evidence. Chances are she has no actual evidence. Like, not even any screenshots of any text messages between them showing that they at a base level, that would just to show that the two of you actually did interact. And then on a deeper level to show, well, on a deeper level, it's not really to show shit. It's just because. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to keep fucking listening to this shit, because I'm just listening to it by myself. There ain't no one else here. And then just listening to this shit on my own, it's kind of boring without anyone else to kind of like talk with and bounce off of. Because you got nobody in chat, ain't nobody in none of the Discord VCs, at least no friends of mine that would give a shit about this drama. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people who will try to morally grandstand about it and act as if they actually give a shit when they don't. They don't give a shit pretty much the entirety of the time. Otherwise, why would you make a Warframe like I'm okay with Warframes having clothing. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. It's just nothing. This shit's it's just nothing. They had no evidence for any of it. Doesn't show anything. And then when directly asked, when the person who made the video is directly asked what evidence were they shown by the alleged victim that proved to them that this happened, and then their answer is basically just, oh, vibes. Like, come on. We gotta do better than that. You gotta be able to do better than fucking vibes. I want to be live for at least like 2-3 hours. I mean, we're already over an hour in, and then I'll probably just go live again once when Himpleton's live. I'll probably go live, but like just on Twitch, because I want to fucking. wait. Wait, where is it? Is it not on the console version? Is it only on the PC version? Crossplay, friend sync, matchmaking, region treasure. Oh, I think it might. I think the Twitch integration stuff is only on the PC version, which sucks because I do want to try to get this game platinumed on the PS5 version. I got the PS4 version platinumed, and then whenever I transferred my character save from PS4 to PS5, it did not give me all the fucking shit, which is kind of extremely gay. But I don't know what else to do. Because, yeah. I don't know. Fuck it, let's put on some like videos from like some of the boys. Ant just came out with like a new thing. We could put on Ant's new video. Oh, Ant's got a fucking upcoming stream too at 7:30 p.m. So wait, Himpleton's is at 8:15 and Ant's is at 7:30. $34-minute video about that. Wait, Just a Robot had a new response? I did not.
Hey, how's it going, boys? Today, boys, we got a very interesting and funny story to cover.
We're stealing content from the boys.
It's like watching a full-on domino effect in real time.
We're stealing the boys' content.
Snowballs into a full-on catastrophe, and it's pretty awesome. This story's got everything you need. Terminally online losers, power-tripping Discord mods, and even some actual...
And you need more stuff in your background.
It's got everything.
You need more shit on your
wall.
wall.
A bit of stupidity in it as well. You're going to want to sit down and hear this one out. But wait, before we actually get into the story, let me do some shilling real quick. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as we're almost to 2K subs, which is pretty insane. Let's make it happen, folks.
Which is
hey,
pretty
join the
insane.
Discord server while you're at it. That server is pretty much dead, and I'm trying to revive it. And we need you there. Let's start the story. Now, this story
and we need
revolves
you
around
there.
One Discord server and one creator in particular, that being the 90s Router. Well, it all kicked off when 90s Router himself decided to drop a little bit of a hit piece on somebody under the name Lio Convoy. Now, if you don't know who Lio Convoy is, he's a pretty controversial person in the art commentary community. Some people like him, some people think he's a sentient red argument with Wi-Fi access. Personally,
a sentient red argument? What does that even mean?
Way too much time on his hands. But here's the kicker. That Router video was pretty bad. It was garbage. It was straight up nonsense. Wild accusations, zero evidence, just pure, unfiltered, hot air. So my buddy Ace sees this dumpster fire of a video and decides to get some content out of it. So he boots up a live stream to discuss the video. And Router himself decides to call in. Yeah, the dude decided to walk into his own roasting session. So instead of me explaining the video, I decided to why not throw a little guy a bone and let Ace himself explain it for you guys.
Throw a little guy a bone.
Hey guys, I'm Ace from the Ace Space, and today we're going to be talking about the 90s router. So this has been an ongoing situation since nearly a month ago about router, where it all just started from criticism of a video, and I had him call in on my live stream. So right off the bat, the issue I had with the video is that he compares Lio Convoy to the infamous Smash Bandicoot, who is also known for harassing people and sending people illegal images and content.
The sad reality, as a previous commenter stated, is that he may be just as evil, if not worse, than Smash, depending on where your moral compass lies, and it'd have to be way the off for you to disagree.
Yes, my moral compass is truly the fucked up one for thinking that the guy who sent illegal images to several people is worse than Lio Convoy. He also frames Lio having an intervention with his friend as puppeting the whole community and controlling everything.
Now, that wasn't relevant to the narrative. He just wants you to know that he pulls all the strings. If you're sat at his table, you're gonna eat well, but only when he says so, and only the red crayons because he doesn't like how they taste.
So far, he thinks that he puppets the whole community and thinks that he's worse than the infamous Smash Bandicoot. But by far, those two claims don't even compare into the craziness of this last claim he makes. You see, Router decides to platform the claim with absolutely no evidence to even suggest anything that Lio Convoy allegedly groomed people in his server.
He's also known for running a server called The Senate, which is believed to be made up of children or young adult females from various backgrounds, possibly suffering from some form of mental or physical abuse that he may or may not be grooming. Now, all of this comes with a very heavy allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I'm led to believing a lot of this speculation through context I'll explain later. The research I was capable of throwing together in just a few days, and with numerous dead ends, speculation, allegations, and not a lot of proof and videos that cover the controversy without a lot of context or a direct narrative, was incredibly limited and muddled.
So the 90s Router just accused Lio Convoy of potentially grooming someone with a very hard allegedly with no evidence. Now I would say that this is reckless, and especially that he has no source or evidence to even back it up. However, I think it's a little worse because for some reason he somehow personally believes it. And when I saw this video with the points I disagree with, I thought I should get this guy in a live stream, talk to him about like my disagreements, and I even made a document because I thought this guy was gonna fight back. However, the stream would go way worse for him than I expected.
But you're absolutely right. Honestly, you're right. I made a lot of fucking comments that really were probably way out of line. I think when I initially started
Am I wrong? I thought there was like a lift. Oh no, there's not. You go up the stairs. I'm an idiot.
And then later on, I just never fucking changed it.
Now that clip was just Router conceding to the whole Smash Bandicoot point he made against Lio Convoy, which is really bizarre to me because he conceded to that within seconds. In fact, even though he said in his own video that if you don't agree with him, your moral compass must be fucked up. However, he conceded to it within seconds. Despite this being a very normal art commentary moment, I'm just not gonna lie, this kind of already shows the type of person Router is. He will make a point very confidently in a video, but when pressed on it, he gets really cold feet. Now, he does concede to a few things quite easily. However, the one that took a little bit of effort to budge on was his grooming claim with Lio. Which I really wanted to understand his thought process with, so I asked him some questions surrounding that topic. Because, for starters, can you even prove that there was children in the Senate?
No, I can't. So that's the issue.
Why would you claim that then if you can't prove it?
Because I'm reporting on what I could fucking find. I'm not saying that it's true. That's why there's a very heavy allegedly, but I'm reporting on.
Fuck it, let's do it. Let's use it. I got a handful. I got a bunch of these, so let's use one.
Yes, it is a bad thing to platform things that you cannot even prove. It doesn't matter if you're just trying to cover a story. You got to cover a story with facts and things that are tangible evidence. And I already knew that we're going a great route when he said the video wasn't even ready and stuff like that. That there was not enough claims, and he only did 4 days of research. So yes, this was an unfinished video that he did very poor research on and making very serious claims against a person.
Okay, let me clarify right off the bat. There is no evidence that I found anywhere that there were children in the Senate. The only thing that I told that even had that information was, unfortunately, and I hate to fucking use this as a source, but it was fucking Kiwi Farms.
Now, personally, I have mixed thoughts when it comes to like researching through only Kiwi Farms, because Kiwi Farms is like a forum site, sure. However, when they're documenting someone who is unliked, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be biased, bad faith, and malicious. Although a smart person would not just use a random comment with no evidence to go off of or anything. However, the 90s router is not like you or I. You see, the 90s router will just read a random comment and just take it as fact despite it having no screenshots or anything whatsoever. Now it's starting to make sense that he doesn't care about his credibility.
I'm thinking of going with
that cares about their credibility, right? Would go to an allegation.
I'll go with the Nova one.
And platform it in their video.
All right, let's see. What do we got? Widowmaker, no. Firestorm is pretty good.
I'm kind of confused about that.
Red Queen.
I mean, my videos aren't
Quasar's not bad.
I literally, the purpose is just
to make generator transfusion.
Okay, but you can make fun of somebody without saying they groomed people.
Transfusion grenades are always fucking goated.
They allegedly did.
Okay. I can literally, like, anyone can say someone allegedly did something, especially you just said, like, there's no evidence of it. Like, there's no evidence to back it up. That is, like, there's, like, a rule of thumb that you don't platform allegations with no evidence. You know, it really genuinely amazes me that a 10K channel knows this little about basic research and video making. But that pretty much sums up, basically, like, the horrible Lio video that the 90s router made and their confrontation on my stream about it. And also, thanks, Given Ant, for having me on your channel. It's always nice to be able to help the little guy out sometimes, you know? Alright, of course, I've been the A-Space, and let's get into the rest of the video.
Shredded creamer?
Half the amount of shit I shouldn't have.
Oh, we'll find out, buddy.
Thanks, Ace, for that banger of a segment. Now, this was just one of the dominoes in this chain reaction of stupidity. And after that, the internet does what it does best. Digging. Some watchful eyes decided to spelunk into Router's Discord server called the CPU. Because of course they did. And what did they find? Some pretty weird and funny stuff in the process.
I'll take that.
Especially some pretty questionable stuff related to one of their moderators. Some guy under the name...
Oh yeah, I forgot you get like one more thing.
Oh yeah, it gets a lot worse and funnier at the same time. So in this little cesspool of a little Discord server, a 16-year-old joins the server. And when they mention their age, they say this. Yeah, it's pretty weird, but
wait,
kind
what
of
did
funny at the same time.
Wait,
but
what did it
gets
say?
Better when the miner decides to...
Wait, what did it say?
Worse and funnier at the same time. So in this little cesspool of a little Discord server, a 16-year-old joins the server. And when they mention their age, they say this.
16, don't groom me.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, but kind of funny at the same time. But it gets better. When the miner decides to drop a voice note in the server, this is what they have to say. Yeah, I have no idea what they said. It could have been ancient Severian, if all I know. But here's
ancient Severian? What the fuck does what is Severian?
Moderator. How do you think he responded to this voice note? Well, folks, he decided to reply with this. Yeah, it's as bad as you would probably thought. Now, Nick does indeed claim that he didn't know the age of the person at the time, so you can believe him or not. Now, Nick Mullen is a 35-year-old man whose online presence consists him of doing this. Yeah, that's a grown-ass man.
I mean...
It's even funnier because this isn't the only time that he's...
We've all had some pretty cringe moments. Even Ant, you've had some cringe moments.
In the server, how do you think our friend Mr. Mullen responded? With the feeling cute emoji. Yeah, the flirty one. And once people found out that there was a minor in the server and that this person was a minor, the minor decided to hold a vote on if they should leave the server or not. Real diplomacy happening here. And shocker, most people said, yeah, why don't you just get this minor out of the server? Especially when they're acting weird and saying things like this. But of course, there's got to be that one person who just got to be difficult. And who was it? It's our boy, Nick Mullen. Yeah, no surprises here. Classic Nick moment. Now, let me get one thing absolutely clear. I don't think Nick Mullen's a pedophile. I don't think he's a groomer. I don't think he's some sinister predator behind the scenes trying to get with 16-year-olds in Router's little Discord server. But if you're a moderator of a server, and a server that's not even 18 plus, and you're out here dropping flirty responses and emojis to people's ages you do not even know, that's just straight up weird behavior and reckless. It's not illegal or anything. It's not even the worst thing that somebody could do, but it's still creepy as hell. Nick Mullen isn't some mastermind. He's not the next biggest scandal. He's just a terminally online Discord mod who doesn't know how to act like a normal human being. And honestly, that might be even worse. Oh, and get this. That 16-year-old, yeah, they did leave the server eventually. Not because they got banned by the mods. Not because Router decided to do anything with the miner who's acting weird in the server. No.
Okay.
They got bullied out of the server by some dude under the name Gilded Poo. Like, imagine being cyberbullied out of a server by some guy who's literally named after literal feces, and you decide to pack your bags and leave. It's pretty funny and kind of insane. And then the second domino falls. On January 12th, 2025, the Great Raid went down on the Router Discord server. Absolute pandemonium. A bunch of hooligans start flooding the server. Chaos erupts. The place starts turning into war zone. The mods, they're losing their minds, running around trying to figure out who is behind this raid. And who they pitted on? One man. Ace. They blame it on Ace. Poor guy probably woke up to a bunch of people messaging him that like he committed some act of war or something. And get this, they actually started to announce it in the server by straight up telling everyone that Ace was behind it. And it's one of the funniest server announcements I have read.
Hello, my name is Novax. If you didn't already know, I am the server manager for Well here. Earlier today,
I was gonna say, is that Flatly?
Caused by a person named Ace, one of Lyo's friends. Then several other members from Ace/Lyo server came to insult our members and staff, throwing pedophilia claims around as well as causing chaos, including the harassment at the time of an unknown minor to justify the pedo claims. However, our lovely AdMod team stepped in to handle the issue as slow mode was issued for 6 hours in #general, as well as a new verification system was added. I'm making this announcement to let you all know and give my personal opinions on this horrible matter. I don't care who or why this was started, but I'm disappointed regardless. Even if Lyo didn't cause this shit, he sure as fuck did nothing to stop it from what I know. Ace is also disgusting with his friends, using them and random members as weapons to attack a fucking server with less than 100 members. Also, going for a fucking miner, all for what?
Hey, the fact that Ant got Flatly to voice some of this is kind of weird.
Trying to best, because at the 90s Router made a video trying his best to cover the topic at hand. What the fuck happened to constructive criticism? So we silence everyone now who even tries to speak out about horrible people? Especially silencing a random ass miner for being in the wrong place at the wrong time? Like, holy shit, grow up. Most of you who know, like, holy shit, grow up. Most of you who started this shit are grown people with families. This is a server made for the community and those who want to see the Router expand to be himself. Lyo, if you read this, you may DM me personally to give your side of the story, but I suggest you find better fucking friends. As for the members who joined to help attack us, did you win? Or do you believe in your delusional fantasies you won by brutally attacking a random fucking miner and any member that stood in your way? In any regard, there's free mental health care. I recommend taking it and seeking help. We will update the server to assist.
It's funny how serious these guys are taking some light trolling and raiding. All right, so the people raiding the server, yeah, their main hobby was mainly just to clown on Nick Mullen for the whole 16-year-old thing by roasting him, and honestly, rightfully so. Now, how does Nick respond to people dunking on him during the raid? Oh, you're gonna love this. Boom. It's all just a joke. You don't understand comedy. Nick, buddy. You cannot be this bad at damage control. Like, bro, you're 35 years old. Do something else for your life, please. Now, this is where it gets really funny and good. Turns out Ace, yeah, he didn't even do it. My guy was just chilling, minding his own business, and he only invited only one person to the server. And it was days before the actual raid took place. Dude was just literally a bystander. Now, what was his grand act that caused him to basically be accused of the raiding? Oh, you're gonna love this. He decided to call a little bit of a joke thread simply titled Nick Mullen's hard drive. Like, bro, that's the only thing he did. One single joke thread. And the mods over here are acting like it's a full-on cyber attack on their little server. So then people in Ace's server start coming to Ace's defense, saying that he has no involvement in the raid. And then the real culprit gets outed. It was Gilded Poo. Gilded just straight up admitted that it was him. No
I gotta
hesitation,
hit the switch.
no
I
drama,
forgot.
just flat out, yeah, I did it. What's even get better, he decides to actually just show the post of him telling people in his own server to raid. Now, I gotta respect that he took the honesty to actually admit that he raided. Because once this happened, the mods shut up real quick. They edited the announcement to get rid of Ace involvement. I mean, come on, it's funny. You can't make up this stuff. Now listen, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't really care about a server being raided. I don't think it's a huge deal. Honestly, I think it's kind of fun. And either if Ace did it or not, it doesn't matter. What does matter is it shows how terminally online these Discord people are. These Discord mods are having a full-blown meltdown over absolutely nothing and acting like it's the end of the world type of thing. It's just some like trolling. These guys were treating it like a national emergency, and it was just really funny. It really makes you think, who are these people? Why do they care about Discord bullshit this much? And then, boom, the next domino falls in this line of dominoes. Enter Nick Mullen, who decides to strut his way along into somebody's stream under the name Glass Raven to air out some of his grievances with Lio, Gilded, and Ace. And let me tell you, this stream, comedy gold. So of course, I dug in, shifted through all the nonsense, and pulled out some of the funniest and most important clips from the stream. And trust me, it's pretty damn good.
So, since you said you did not know that the minor was underage, do you think you should have been more cautious with how you interacted with people in 90 server?
Yes, but I say yes, but because I don't know quite what that means exactly. I don't know who I need to be careful of, and I don't even know their first name. I don't know anything about people other than they have a funny nickname and an anime picture, and they have a sense of humor and all this. I don't know anything about individuals. And like, yeah, that's maybe to some people a weird excuse. I don't know what you would call that, but that's my thinking on the thing. Is I don't know what I should be careful of exactly. I have no idea.
Come on, man, this is golden. What do you mean you don't know what you need to do? Maybe just, I don't know, just don't even flirt with somebody in a server that's not 18 plus that you don't know the age of. Like, buddy, is literally the easiest thing to do in the world. Just don't flirt with somebody who you do not know the age of. Now, this next little segment is when Ace Howler, or Ace Space, joins the call.
So, did you reach out to Gilded, you know, the guy who called you a pedophile, or did you just not care to do that?
Okay, so I know you just got here. I will repeat myself. I don't really know how to get in contact with him.
Have you ever
His DMs are open. I just messaged him like without even having us a friend.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Yeah, because I don't know why you've been in my DMs for like 2 weeks straight, but you won't reach out to the guy who called you a pedophile. It kind of just comes off to me as like disingenuous, and you don't really care.
Well, there's a reason for that. Is you before I had
the worst I called you was a creep, and you let the guy who called you a pedophile just go away free.
Now, hold on. Now,
yes, that.
Hold on.
Okay,
exactly. That's what.
You got
confused
about. If you are confused, let me explain. Okay. I was coming around to speaking with each of you individually. I only kept from speaking with him just yet because I didn't speak with you yet. You were the first person to offer me any kind of conversation, and you kept from speaking with me after so much was established. I kept asking you, hey, stream time, and you instead decided to stream with other people about other people and play some fucking farming simulator game. Okay, I tried to really get you to speak with me because I feel like I should speak with you.
Why would I be priority when there's other people calling you pedophiles? You see, your motivations do not make any sense.
No.
You're going to the guy who called you a creep and a weirdo, which you just conceded a little bit ago that what you did was creepy. So, like, I don't even understand the disagreement anymore. But yet, you were actively avoiding people who are calling you a pedophile and spreading that around.
Oh, this is just too good. Now, Nick, right, just decides not to reach out to the guys who are actively calling him a pedophile because he didn't know how to contact him. Like, bro, come on. Meanwhile, me, most boomer brain 20-year-olds out there, could barely even turn on a computer, can DM Gilded Poo right now without a hesitation. Me. Now, what makes this even funnier? Nobody, aside from Gilded, which he took back eventually, and one of his little orbiters was even calling Nick a pedophile. Nobody else did. Everyone else was just like, yeah, it's kind of creepy. You're a little weird. It's absolutely unreal. Even Nick himself calls himself creepy for what he did.
How are you guys gonna come after people that you didn't prove to yourself or your peers to be what you claim them to be? Right? There's no proof that I am. Maybe I'm creepy. I get that. Whatever. That's fine. But there's.
And this is the moment when Gilded Poo decides to call in, just out of nowhere, and he's got one mission in particular: to grill Nick over the whole feeling cute emoji reply situation. And let me tell you, it's pretty awesome and funny. Just a full-on, no holds roasting session. Nick's sitting there getting cooked alive, and I'm just eating it up.
I'm not suggesting that you knew at the time the person was a minor. Again, for the record. What I'm suggesting is upon finding out, and when people were showing you these images, you should have said, okay, I should probably get rid of the minor. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, no. So the fuck me thing, you want to know what that's in reference to? That's me. That's in reference to me pointing out by leaving a link to my 10-hour-long content cop on iDubbbz, you asshole.
Okay, that's cool. Why would you then react with
that's
the feeling cute
context.
emoji? Cool. Why would you react with the feeling cute emoji? That's weird.
Can we calm down, please?
Because she said, fuck me, that's 10 hours. I'll watch it later. That's the conversation.
But you replied with the feeling cute emoji.
Yeah, because it's a 10-hour-long thing. Like, oh, fuck me, I can't believe that's happening. Oh, fuck me, this is so ridiculous. Oh, fuck me.
I understand why Noistring wrote that. Why did you react with the feeling cute emoji?
Because that, again, me
And
saying,
why did you heart every comment?
Because here's me saying, here's my 10-hour-long content cop. She says, fuck me. Yeah, that's 10 hours long. I'll watch it later. The feeling cute thing, it's me responding to them being floored and astounded at the fucking runtime, dude.
That's a weird thing to react with. What I said was you reacted with a feeling cute emoji, which is this weird reaction. It is a weird reaction. I'm sorry. That is weird.
Okay, yeah, you can think it's weird, but the reality is, hey, they're saying, oh, I'm astounded by the runtime. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling cute about this. Ha ha ha.
This right here is the funniest thing to come out of the stream. Like, this dude is bending over backwards just trying to justify why he responded to somebody saying F me who's a minor with the feeling cute emoji. Full on damage control mode at this point. And then he decides to try to play it off as just a funny joke. Buddy, you just have to admit that you were flirting with the person, say that you didn't know the age, and move the hell on. You messed up. You'll learn from it. You won't do it again, but...
I think I'm gonna go ahead and end stream. Nobody's hanging out. Nobody's talking in chat. I might go live again later. I don't know. We'll see.
What do you have in store? One life away we can't explore, but I don't want to wait no more, cause it's the type of feeling you can't ignore. I'm ready to break down the door, settle the score, can't let you go away. I'm just a smile on your face, you know that I love the chase. You told me once that I was crazy, I said, baby girl, I know, but I can't let you go away, so don't you get me started now. I want a yes, I don't want maybes, cause they leave me where you found me. So don't leave. Ooh, I just love the way you got me feeling. Love the feeling. It's like, ooh, take away the pain. Baby, I'm healing. Baby, I'm healing. I don't need anything more. Be the wave, I'll be the shore. Crashing all over me, I want you. What do you have in store? Type of girl to make me drop dead on the floor. This the only girl that I love and adore. This the type of love that you can't ignore. Say, hey, she coming my way. She run around saying whatever she wanna say. I told her I don't wanna have to do this every day. I told her that I love her, but she thinking it's a game. Oh no, now she uncomfortable. Never wanna make it feel one dimensional. Oh yeah, oh nah. Don't know how we got there. Don't you get me started now. You told me once that I was crazy. I said, baby girl, I know, but I can't let you go away, so don't you get me started now. I want a yes, I don't want maybes, cause they leave me where you